How are we going to roll out the traits? Which traits were we going to roll out, and in what order were we going to do it in?
When we got to the point we were ready to roll out the Scholar traits, we tried to decide in what order we were going to roll the traits out. We started with, even to the point of how we should build an agenda and where we should focus first and what we should do first. So we did an NGT to figure out by priority how we should attack this whole overwhelming process of how do you start something from new and have it make meaning for everybody involved. So we did an NGT and decided that that we'd start with the order and the color for the Scholar model. Sounding like an easy task, but when we started to play around with how it looks, at first we tried to link it to the learning model and the colors of the learning model, but it was different because it was that center, that focus on student learning in the learning model. So we wanted to do colors that weren't already in the Leander learning model. But we did want to group them into some sort of organization so that it would make sense. And Lori, or somebody talked earlier about breaking them into think, share, and act on our original Scholar guide, but we decided to really break it more think, share, and act on how it would fit on the model.
We decided as a committee that these traits were wonderful. There were 15 of us, and all 15 of us had different ideas about what each trait meant. So the first thing that we started doing is brainstorming what we thought that trait meant. We all knew that we wanted our kids to give back, but what did that really mean? So that's where we started each time with each trait, was to brainstorm what does that mean to us and then kind of break that apart. After we came up with exactly what we thought give back meant, then we started trying to figure out what are our ideas for how we can implement that into our school. So our team brainstormed ideas for how we could introduce the trait, all the different ways that we could do them in our classroom. We wanted to hit it school-wide, we wanted to hit it in classroom. Even our librarian, we wound up for our giving back, we got the heart-shaped Post-it notes, and kids would find examples in the books that they read in the library of people that were giving back, and they would leave the Post-it note. And then the next person that would check out the book could find that in the note. We used all types of things. We called attention to it every time we saw it. We had children bringing examples of things during the holidays, especially when they were giving back. We made bulletin boards. We really tried to make sure that they knew that giving back didn't just happen in the holidays, it happened all the time, and this was something that we really were trying to support here at the school. And we moved on into making connections, once again, what did that mean to everybody on our team? So we brainstormed ideas of what that meant and how we thought we already did that. As we meet, we always have an agenda. We try to make our agenda at the meeting before that meeting. So we set our agenda, then when we come in, we can just quickly get moving. So this was our agenda in May, and so we were kind of looking at how we're wrapping up what we'd kicked off. Then we made our rollout plan for the next year, and we had been told to go slow, and to go slow, and to go slow, but we were so excited. Our families are excited at the school. The teachers are excited, and our team was very excited, and going slow really doesn't go in our vocabulary very well. So we went ahead and planned. We did plan it knowing that there would be some times we were busy. We didn't give December any traits to roll out. We reviewed at the beginning of the school year. We tried to make it so that we would be able to, knowing in the back of our minds that if we needed to, we could always bump them. But this was our plan. We started out the year with some of the ones that we thought would make the most impact on learning, and they did. But that was what we wanted to plan to start with. We already thrive in learning communities, but we thought in November, starting to get into the whole, some of those things, and that we'd have already kicked into our school year, our communities would be in full force in the neighborhoods and our grade levels. We thought that would be a great time to introduce that. And then communicating effectively and kind of moving through, and then on through the rest of the traits. We didn't know if we would finish, but this was our goal for the year. And as we've worked on them, they've gotten much easier, much faster, and everybody just jumps on board. The staff jumps on board. Everybody's excited about what are we doing next. The kids talk it. This is the language that we hear them speak about things just in their classroom. So it's been very simple for us to be able to move a little faster as we got going.
All right, as we ended the year in May, with our rollout plan, we did plan a day in the summer to meet and start looking at the two roles of our leadership team. One, to continue to develop the traits, and again, like the year before, start to look at our data and make sure we're meeting the needs of what our students need and not let the scholars necessarily pull us off course if that's not where we need to be. Because now I had 2 years of data and needed to make sure we were still supporting student learning appropriately. So they needed to review the rollout plan, talk about if we were going to bring in John Burrell, update websites and money, and talk about trait plans. And then the other half of the afternoon is not on here, but then we did do our data analysis and team and making sure we're supporting our campus improvement plan. So from there, we started to plan to think critically and creatively, because like Kim said, this one and the wondering question, we felt we're going to have the biggest impact on instruction, which would have a big impact on student learning and learner engagement. So we did creation stations, centers out in the neighborhood space, wanderings, buddy classes, and then we just were able to really start to accelerate the planning process. The team got very proficient in delegating out their jobs, staying on topic. Once we kind of made a planning model, we could just go through the steps really quickly. We knew we needed a home connection piece, we needed activities in the classroom, plus the classroom teachers now, they didn't want us to give them all the stuff. They wanted to create how they were going to do it because they were all bought in, and so it became easier. We felt like we were always going to have to come up with 5 pages of activities. They didn't want that anymore. They wanted to start doing it. So our planning became very kind of like a template. Just what do we need? When are we going to do it? What materials? What is it going to look like? And then people go, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that, and it just comes together. And we just moved on. These were the ones we planned in the summer to roll out in the fall because we knew they would take the most in-depth planning and preparation for. So we spent our fall semester really implementing the things we planned over the summer. They were our biggest traits. The wondering question and the think critically and creatively and thriving in a learning community needed to be deep-seated into everything that we did. We did a lot of training, preparation, and planning, started creating inquiry lessons. These were the things we thought would have the most impact on student learning. Then when we got back together right before Christmas, we started thinking about where were we? We weren't quite on target of our time because we spent more time going deeper into those traits. So we revised and got back on plan. And the thing that I noticed here is this is about the time the team started to run independently. They started making their own agendas. They started ending the meeting with what would the agenda be next week. We went from full days to half days to an hour. So now every other week for an hour, they meet and work on a couple of things, not just the scholars anymore. So that really sped up the process and the efficiency. And then we went ahead and we rolled out Continuing to Improve. We had to bring these back a little bit on Thrive and Learning Communities because the inquiry took longer, and we just adjusted. And into January, and now we're on the Rolling Out Communicate Effectively because we were one trait behind what our learning goal was to get them out by the end of the year. We've combined using our senses to learn and communicate effectively together, and those are the 2 traits that we're working on currently. After we met in the summer and we had our model finally completed and we got it to the print shop and to be alignment the same way that the rest of the guiding documents are in the district, we just thought, wow, this is really cool. And we talked about birthing a scholar, so we decided to have a birthday party. So at our back-to-school teacher in-service, they all wore party hats and balloons, and we had cupcakes and ice cream, and we went into the cafeteria and we had a birthday party for our scholar. And we gave the teachers their models, and they got a bucket that had all the magnets and things on it. So they got a birthday present, and we just celebrated the work of creating this and having it go live. Since then, everything around here has become scholar-driven. I don't know if you noticed the shirts earlier today, they say, I'm a scholar on the back. Everything's about being a Parkside Scholar. And what does that mean? How do you act? How do you look? What do you do? And as we're looking at striving for assessment for learning and kids being able to talk about where they are in their own learning, Lori again, the creator of the Scholar Dude, took a different model and put our Scholar Dude into the same traits that are on a capacity matrix about are you at a knowledge, information, knowledge level, know-how, wisdom that you can teach it to a friend. We also color-coded it and numbered it so it could be grade appropriate. Kindergarten could say, I'm feeling a little red with that math lesson, I don't get it. Or you could write a number on an assignment as you're turning it in, going, I kind of get it. Or you could use a crown as, say, you're blue. Older kids could put a red dot on a math paper, and as the teachers are monitoring, they can say, oh, not quite getting it, because they don't always want to say in front of their peers. This was also something that we could transfer into all of our programs. It's in the art room, the gym, everybody. Learning a new skill in PE, she just says, where are you? And they go, we're twos. Or they go, we get it, just before safety to make sure they have a good understanding of the game and the rules. So our Scholar Dude is alive and well.
Living this process in a short 3 years is amazing, the amount of impact it's had. As a coach, I can go in, people invite me in all the time, and I'll use a tool, but then the next step, I'll have the teacher use the tool and I'll be there to support them. So we're at the point now where the students are learning what the tools actually are called and when they should use them. And that's powerful, powerful stuff, because then they truly are understanding what they know and what they need to know and what they need in order to learn. So
I agree. Just around the school, it's so nice I get to work with all kids, pre-K through 5th grade, and just hearing them being able to verbalize their learning and these traits and incorporating them into their learning and analyzing their own learning. My child also goes to school here, and in the dressing room, she wanted to make a plus delta on her dress that she wanted me to get for her. So it's just, she used it appropriately. So it was really neat to hear.
The parents, everybody wants these traits for their child. I have children that go here too. These are the things that you would want. This is the imagining the perfect child. When they leave us, what traits would they have to go and be a successful person in their life? And this gave us the vocabulary to talk to parents. So we're all on the same page. And the children can use those words, and we can use those words, and their parents can use those words, and they're nothing that won't go with them forever. They're wonderful things that you want everybody to have. So it's nothing that's just specific to one school, but it'll carry with them forever on.
There's a lot of flexibility in the teaching. It's not, here's the plan for the day, here's what we're going to learn, and everybody's going to be on the same path. Students are able to identify their path and their choice, and even choose in how they're going to show mastery of something, which is exciting that students are taking the ownership and doing what they want to do with their learning.
I think some of the smallest little tweaks that we found to use with our lessons have made the biggest impact on our classroom learning. Some of the things from John Burrell's The Why Our School Bus is Yellow, using problematic scenarios. It has revitalized some of the ways in our classrooms. I know in my program, I'm using problematic scenarios instead of the traditional independent study that we've done the whole second semester. And they're doing group work, and it's more real life. It's more, they're taking a challenge. They understand why they're researching now. In the past, they've done it because it was the time of the year to do it. Now they're looking at it, and they had to get with their group and decide, what do we need to know to solve this problem? And then they had to go out and find the answers. That's what we do in real life. We don't go take a note card because that's what we're supposed to do. In real life, we find out what do we need to know, and then we go find the answer, and then we go solve the problem. And that's what they're doing. And all of that's come from the things that we've learned, the things that when we've been researching, the things that we've to implement for our students, such small little tweaks in what we were already doing have made huge impact.
And I think in a Parkside Scholar classroom, we've shifted the emphasis from what the teacher's doing to what the student's doing. And that's when the real learning takes place.
I'm Wendy Catchpool, and I teach
math here at Parkside Elementary, and this is our capacity matrix that we use in math. And with that capacity matrix, we introduce objectives or units that we're going to be covering.
At the beginning of a unit, you write your name down on a sticky note and you put it wherever you are at the beginning. And a couple times when we're doing the unit, we'll come out here, and if you know how to do it more, then you'll move your sticky note down one of these.
In this one, we did measurement, which dealt with capacity, length, weight, and volume, and we try to gauge where the students are.
And information is, I know what it is, but I can't really do it. And knowledge is, I understand, can explain this to somebody else. Know-how is, I can do this on my own without teachers' help. And wisdom is, I can apply this to other situations and teach others. So kind of like a teacher teaching other kids that don't know how to do it.
At the beginning, a lot of students are at this information or knowledge level. And then as we go through the unit, we figure out, I teach all of the unit on capacity, length, weight, and volume. And then we come back and we review and say, where do you think you are now? How well do you think you know capacity and measurement? And we do, proof of it. They've got to show me. Are they able to do it in problem solving? Are they able to apply it? And once they feel pretty good about it, they'll come out here at the end of the unit and they'll find that they're much lower.
It kind of helps you to know where you are, and if you're able to do it really good, if you're not able to do it very well. So
we really want them at the wisdom level where they're able to explain to other siblings or other students, because if you know it, that's great, but if you can apply it and explain it, you really know it.
My name's Lauren, and this is a capacity matrix, and in the second 9 weeks we were learning fractions, decimals, and division. They have information, knowledge, and know-how and wisdom for the different levels. Information, it means that you know what it is. Knowledge means that you can explain it. Know-how means that you can do it on your own. Wisdom means that you can apply it to new situations and teach others. Some of them that I'm on wisdom are, I can create equivalent fractions. I learned that 1/4 is 4/16, and I can identify numbers as prime or composite. I know that 17 is prime and 27 is composite. I can divide a 2-digit divisor by a 3-digit dividend, and I divided 374 by 12, and I got 31 remainder 2.